Hey, greetings. Welcome back to The Sole Producers. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm joined with me today with my two co-producers, the one and the only fastcart FC and the definitely one and only SeriousFun. How you guys doing?
I'm good. I
Doing?
can't see the show, but I'm good.
You can't
I
see
can't
the
see the show
show?
either.
Are you
Nope.
serious? Oh my
Yep. Now,
god.
now,
There it
now it
is.
just came up. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, that's weird. There shouldn't be a delay in Discord. Why is there a delay in Discord? That doesn't make any sense. Okay.
It's one of those days, Griffin. Just one of those days.
I didn't do anything. You guys said it's not there, and you said there it is, and it just popped up. So that's weird. Anyway, welcome everybody. Thank you for those of you who are patrons on Patreon and YouTube and Twitch. Also, thank you so much for your continued support of the Soul Citizens. Today we are going to be covering a topic that from a phrase that many of you may be familiar with. We're not going to give it away completely, but I'm going to ask Fastcart, when you first see this title, is there something that you think of when you see this title?
I think of Green Lantern. The slogan for Green Lantern when it powers up his ring. No. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's the first thing that came up to my mind because I'm a comic book fan. So
Oh,
Twice
okay.
as Bright. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Serious, what about you? Twice as bright. Would that come to anything with you?
Yeah, I have a sense of where this comes from, but what comes to mind when I think of it is epic rap battles of history, East versus West.
Oh.
when they have the Western
Wow.
philosophers versus the Eastern philosophers. Right?
Wow.
See,
Wow.
Griffin was not expecting either of our
No,
answers.
those are good. Those are good answers, though. They're good answers because, for me, being the science fiction fan that I am and we are, the one that stuck in my mind was probably from one of my top 5 science fiction films, and that's Blade Runner. And it is the statement of the flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. And it is a quote from that film, but even more, it's a quote from, I think it's, make sure I don't want to mispronounce it, Lao Tzu. Is another pronunciation of where that comes from. And we're just using this part here because this week we want to be discussing this idea of what observing things happening in the Star Citizen community. And one of them that's happening is burnout. Some people are fatigued. It's been a long time coming, even though we're so much closer to the fruition of the vision of Chris Roberts in Cloud Imperium Games. It is still very difficult for folks because time has just passed. There are people who were graduating from high school who have now gotten married and got a job, and maybe they've gotten a degree and they've got kids now, because of the anticipation of this great game. But it also, this game has incited a certain energy in backers, right, guys? I mean, people, yeah. This isn't like just looking forward to any game. Every once in a while, there's that game that people get pumped up with. Cyberpunk 2077 was one. People looking forward to GTA 6, right? There's something about these games that years have gone by, right? And a reputable company is going to produce something that gets people really fired up, right? And there's a lot of energy. And then when something happens, like yesterday, we saw the announcement from Rockstar that GTA 6 was going to be pushed back. And there's like a sigh, right? There's like a ugh. Now there's some people who are like, yeah, we figured it might get pushed back. But then there are other people who, they get disappointed, right? When they're anticipating these certain types of games that are coming out and there's a lot of excitement about. But we're focusing in on the fact that what happens when you've had a project like Star Citizen and Squadron 42 that has taken in excess of 12 years in development, overall from announcement today. And now there's some people are just getting burnt out. We've had content creators, right, Fastcart, after the 2016. Yeah. Remember the 2016 Citizen Con where all this anticipation was coming because the vertical slice was going to come and the game was going to come out. And you had all these content creators who started back in 2012, 2013. And by 2017, man, they were gone. Some of them became variety streamers or disappeared, right?
Well, one of my favorite anecdotes is like someone who backed the game who was 12 years old in 2012. Afterlife had been following the Star Citizen development. If you started that young, so that is a long time, especially for the younger you are. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's only been like a fifth of my life, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's still a huge chunk.
Yeah. It's a good amount of time. Yeah. Serious, what about the folks who, after 2017, saw the vertical slice and we heard for the next 2.5 years, we're going to focus on Squadron 42 and we're going to put all our energy into it, right? And we went to the UK last year with great anticipation, and CIG says, gotta wait till 2026. Right?
Well, and that was when they didn't know that GTA was dropping in
Yeah.
2026. So, while I don't anticipate the year to move, it would be silly to not be paying attention to when a behemoth like that drops, especially when you want to use your star power. But yeah, it was that post 2016 period where essentially Squadron 42 went behind the scenes, and what we were left with was 30Ks and object container boxes and
Elevator desk.
the iCache difficulty and all the stuff that was left for us in the PU, and yet it was still compelling for many of us.
Yeah.
Right? It was still this draw because then and now it is still unmatched in some areas. It just is entirely unmatched in some areas, which we may talk about. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that unmatched side that you're talking about is, we asked this question: is what is it that makes us keep coming back, right? And so I want to go with this title today that we talked about of Twice as Bright, and I want to say, but this part too. We'll put it in real quick. We'll put that in, right? And wait, I got to put it in the right way, y'all, because I got to capitalize. My OCD is kicking in. So we're going to put it that way. All right. That's what we're going to say about the show today. Twice as bright, half as long. We talked about this. So the three of us, we had a time we bounced things off of each other. And one of the things that we have not talked about is why. A lot of times CIG talks about people being passionate about the project, excited about the project, vision of the project, dreaming about the project. But then I was thinking about, I shared with my brothers today or this week, there's some other things there that I think that might be real realities as to why people feel a certain way about this. And one of them is this, which we all as gamers have heard about before, which is dopamine. Now, we are not doctors, guys. We're not doctors. We're just taking information.
TV. Yeah.
But we're taking information that is well-known information about playing video games. And we're going to see if there are connections here as to why maybe we feel the way we do about Star Citizen, why there's frustration and fatigue. Dopamine, while playing, a chemical called dopamine is released in the brain. Dopamine makes the player feel good and stay interested and focused on playing. However, the brain then starts producing less of this positive feeling chemical at times when the player is not playing video games. So we understand that there is a scientific medical reason for why, and not this is video games, but there are plenty of things that trigger dopamine and get people excited to play something and get them engaged and they get a good feeling from doing it, right? And that could be anything, but we're keeping it in the line of dealing with video games. But then it says, what chemical does the brain produce when playing video games? The reward center in the brain releases dopamine in response to a pleasurable experience or hyperarousal. If a person experiences hyperarousal while playing a video game, the brain associates that activity with the dopamine. And then, let me go a little bit further here. Do video games increase serotonin? Yes. Playing video games can increase serotonin levels in the brain alongside with neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins, contributing to feelings of well-being and relaxation. This increase is often linked to the reward system by the brain, which associates pleasurable experiences like gaming with positive feelings. This is something I want to ask you guys about. the natural dynamic of this is that when we start playing a video game, that we get a good feeling, we're excited to do it, but we start looking for something. And the thing that it says that we're looking for is a reward system. But what happens when the game does not deliver the reward? Do we feel? Are we happy? Are we happy? Are we feeling good about the project when it doesn't deliver what the dopamine requires? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can imagine that if you have successive moments with this game where you are arriving to it, and because it's not being associated with the pleasurable experience, because it's not linking with the reward system in the brain, and it's not kicking in the dopamine and serotonin, that could lead to a different type of arc that you end up on in terms of your experiences, right? Which is what's interesting about Star Citizen is that it has things within it that, for many, subvert the frustrations that come with it being incomplete or come with it being frustrating, right? For every time that the elevator, opens up and is trying to kill me, I could turn and look out a window and see the sun rise over a planet beyond the space station, and know that I can go to each of those points as soon as the elevator starts working, right? So, when I go down to these new Hathor locations, right, and I can't get the machine to trigger the access card, right, the way it's supposed to be, I can still walk outside and see my ship in the distance and the clouds in a way that are in, this stuff still triggers for me and for many that feeling of well-being, relaxation, and reward and accomplishment, even though the specific rewards and accomplishments in the game still are not quite where CIG wants them to be and where the community wants them to be.
Right. I was playing Hathor the other day with a group of us. It was me, Nihilus, Captain Jones, and Zombie Pig. And we went up to the space station, the Hathor space station, right? I hadn't been up there yet, the orbital. And when we got up there, we were looking to get into the rooms, right? You got the red room and this room and this room. And we would go in and, Captain Jones was like, well, take whatever you need, blah, 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 blah. And you know what my response was? I was like, oh, I don't want anything. I'm just here having fun. Now, for me, doing that achievement and getting there was the fun. What happens, though, to the person who's looking for reward, right? And that reward doesn't get met, right? The brokenness of the game is amplified even more, right? Because the dopamine and everything else is requiring that there's some form of satisfaction that comes from the game. And I'm mentioning this because CIG has taken on this effort this year of making the game become, in so many words, to a certain degree, rewarding, right? You got all these mechanics and things in the game, but they weren't, you go do a mission and, we did this the other day on the 890 mission, right? We went on board and we killed all 20 people and it still said 0 and nothing happened. Right?
Yeah, the game looked back at us like, yep, you did everything you're supposed to do, and I'm still not giving you the mission.
Yeah, right. And so, we didn't get mad about it. We were just like, hey, we didn't get the reward. And we were like, well, let's go on. Right. But there are people who play the game, and rightfully so, who look for that reward to happen. And my point is that when there's chemical things happening in our brains that are telling us that when A equals B, C is supposed to happen. And when C doesn't happen, it introduces a level of frustration instead of satisfaction, right?
Right.
And people start to, and the more they do that, and the more they do that, and the more they keep doing it, and the more they keep coming back to this game, hoping to see it work, right? And it doesn't. What does that start to set up inside of people? So for the reward system, the brain reward system, which involves neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, are activated when you experience enjoyable activities like gaming. This system reinforces behaviors that bring pleasure and satisfaction. And if those things aren't being reinforced, my question then becomes, what actually does get reinforced in folk, right? What are the benefits beyond entertainment? Playing video games not only provide entertainment, but also other benefits such as stress relief, cognitive stimulation, social interactions. These benefits can contribute to the overall well-being and mental health. They contribute. When it works, it contributes to well-being. And my question that I'm raising to you guys today is, what happens when it doesn't contribute? Right? What happens when people don't get that satisfaction? When the reward system doesn't kick in? When CIG introduced this whole thing about, remember the risk versus reward thing that they introduced? People got intrigued, right? But what happens when you spend 40 minutes getting yourself ready, flying out, you kill all the ships outside the 890 Sirius, right? You do all the combat, you go on board, you get shot, you get wounded in the leg, your buddy come and heal you, you get almost shot at, you kill everybody, and then you finally, everybody's dead, and you see that 20 up there and 0, and nothing happens.
I wish I was able to jump in earlier with this point, but I just wanted to give a quick history with regard to the stuff that people will be seeing on the screen. For like, I want to say 20 years, over 20 years now, different MMOs had alternative names as opposed to, in addition to their real name. Like World of Warcraft became World of Warcraft. EverQuest became EverQuest. And EVE Online became Ecstasy Online, so this isn't anything new. A lot of these MMOs, not a lot, but quite a few of these MMOs people have already known that there's something going on in their mind with the presence in while playing these games. So this isn't anything new, but it may be that we haven't talked about it in a while. It was not really brought up as much recently as it has been previously. But to your point, when the expectations aren't met with reward or whatever they're trying to, the goal that they meet and the reward doesn't match, they tend to get frustrated. That is a thing.
But
yeah,
into your, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and to the point that's emerging here, we are not doctors, right? But we can read. And the scholarship is clear that when this works well, it's tied to these other things that lead to pleasure and positivity. But there can be this deviance, right? When it doesn't work well, right? Or when it's perceived to not work well, or when there's actual barriers in the experience to it working well, right? Then those pathways can get subverted, right? And we have a different type of outcome. And because there's something about the experience that brings people back, like a lot of times when you have a negative outcome, you just don't come back, right? If I get disrespected at the suit place, I buy my suit somewhere else, right? And I leave a great Google review that lets everybody know, right? But there's something about this experience that has just enough to bring people back, but then they get that ongoing frustration.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that you have different generations of Star Citizen backers who are also players. And you've got a generation now of folks who are coming in, and I think CIG recognizes this, who have been here for a while, but who have had successive negative experiences with the material factors in the game, right? The actual fundamental systems and components and features of the game, right? And they have some of this other stuff that keeps us going, which is this, like, you know, I recognize the work in progress. I still get to see what I get to see. I still like my armor. I still like my character creation. I still like this other stuff. They get some of that, and that brings them back. But the meat and potatoes that they're looking for is a different meat and a different potato than what chemically triggers me.
Yeah.
Right. And as a result, they're chemically triggered in a different way, which is negative health.
Yeah.
Or negative brain and other responses to this thing. Right? And that can be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why that lends itself to our title today, right? The twice as bright, half as long. That there's so much excitement and anticipation for this that's outside of a normal video game. You know, something comes out, we see on Steam, oh, that looks kind of interesting, maybe I'll try it. But this thing has a whole nother level of anticipation. So the candles are burning really bright for a lot of us backers. But if we're not careful, and if we don't understand that dynamic, of which you talked about, how this game in an alpha incomplete state does not always deliver in that reward system that we are chemically and naturally looking for. And when it doesn't happen, as you said, Sirius, there's an alternate response. Instead of one of pleasure, it becomes one of frustration, disappointment, aggravation, right? And I'm saying this because this may give credence to understanding why people feel the way they do. It's so easy to be dismissive and tell people, well, just go play something else, right? Yeah. But when you understand why people may be feeling the way they do, right? And that sometimes people, it's not about the money. You know what I mean? It's not about that. It's the fact that you just said it, Sirius. You and I were joking around about this before the show started. The crack of this game is what you see. The visuals of this game in your subconscious tell you, look at what they've done. Look at what the potential is. I can see where this is going. Man, if they only do this, this is going to be the best, blah, 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 blah. That is always somewhere in our freaking back of our minds, right? Because we see accomplishments like people to planet. We see the fact that now we can land anywhere in the game, not just in certain areas. We see the fact that they're not 90 zones, but 4,000 landing zones, right? All that stuff is running in the back of backers' minds in the midst of same brokenness and things not working and the reward system that doesn't always deliver. And so this point here about balance is the key. While the video games can trigger dopamine and serotonin release, excessive gaming can disrupt the balance of neurotransmitters, which a lot of us gamers do is excessive gaming, but potentially leading to issues like addictions, negative mental health consequences. You can have excessive gaming with Star Citizen. And what I mean by that is that there are good times to step back and take a break. If you're trying to make this game be something that it isn't in an alpha state, you're setting yourself up for some bad feelings. For some people, play it when a new patch comes out. See what's the latest thing, right? Enjoy it for the moment. And when it gets frustrating, say, I'll come back when they get the bugs fixed. Sometimes it's a matter of just waiting a few weeks, right? When that first patch comes out, you're excited to come in because you knew the new thing is in there. But you also, if you've been around any amount of time, you got to get a couple point whatevers afterward before it finally starts working well. And maybe that's what's a good time to come back and play the game. For some people, it's going to be like, don't come back till 1.0. It's like, come back at 1.0. Don't aggravate yourself. Don't frustrate yourself.
Or to your point, 1.1, 1.2. Right?
I was just about to say that. You beat me to it.
Yeah. So, what we're trying to share with you folks is this. We're not discouraging people from playing the game. We're just kind of looking at understanding both why there's a bit of fatigue. If your candle's burning twice as bright, maybe it's like, pull it back a little bit, still have that wonder and excitement, but understand that if you don't manage that, it could also be what leads you down a path of, instead of finding satisfaction and reward, it could be also the thing that makes you feel more disappointment and frustration. And there's room for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you feel like you're burning twice as bright, try not to burn the candles at both ends.
Yeah. Well, don't burn it at both ends either. Yeah. All right, well, we're going to wrap up this because we're going to do a shorter show today, but thank you all for this. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation, what we talked about. We do want to mention one other thing that's going to be coming up. Many of you guys have heard us talk about the Quantum Vegas 2955 coming up on Saturday, July the 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada, here in the United States. We are so excited for this. We just had our meeting this morning with our team, and everything is going really well. And over the next 60 days, a little more than that, actually, I think we're like 70. Yesterday was day 70. So today is 69. So you guys have some time. Nice. You guys have some time. Tickets right now are on sale. Right now, you can get them at the regular general admission price of $100. It is going to be a full day of events, activities, giveaways. We have like about 25, 30 giveaways that we're doing that day from CIG, from Thrustmaster, from Elgato, from who's our other big Monster Tech. We've got all types of cool things that are going to be going on. So if you can make your way to Las Vegas, listen, Las Vegas right now needs people to come. Conventions are down right now, so you can get some good deals on hotels and stays and flights. So book your trip to come out to Las Vegas on Saturday, July the 12th, and join us. We're going to have a great time at Quantum Vegas 2955.
In fact, the tickets are not 100; it's 99. So you should
99
get
a dollar off, right? Get a $1 off discount, right? That's right.
Yeah,
$99.
just made it happen. $1
Yes,
off.
thank you.
It's happening.
Yeah, it is happening. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you to my co-hosts and my co-producers, Fastcart FC, Serious. Hope we weren't too. I think we hopefully we share some good intention today with this topic of managing ourselves as we continue to work forward and look forward to
We want
development.
everybody that watches this show and engages with this community. We want you all to win.
Yes.
Right? Whatever winning is for you, right? And so that's the only reason we bring these things up, because we care and we want you to feel good about being in the community, and hopefully this helps a little bit. So.
Absolutely. Patreon and YouTube subscribers, this will be going out to you today. Today is Saturday the 3rd. And so look forward to seeing this, and it'll go out on Monday to the general population. Don't forget tomorrow, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. You guys enjoy this weekend. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. Fastcart, sign us out.
Yes.
Love.
And so.
Thanks, guys. Take care.